Good evening. The Eastham Conservation Commission will hold a hybrid public meeting on Tuesday, May 12th, 2026 at 6 p.m. pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, MGL, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, Open Meeting Law, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 155 of the Code of the Town of Eastham, Eastham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, in order to consider the following. And this meeting is being broadcast on Public Access Channel 8 and streamed on YouTube. It will be rebroadcast on Channel 8, and meeting videos will be available on YouTube. Before we begin, a quick reminder. While our meetings are relatively informal, the Commission uses a simplified version of Robert's Rules. The chair runs the meeting, and everyone should speak through the chair after being recognized. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak. We allow discussion between commissioners, staff, and applicants, and may extend that to abutters. For NOIs and RDAs, the applicant will present first, followed by discussion with the commission and staff. Once commission questions have slowed, abutters will have a chance to speak, followed by other members of the public as time allows. The chair may set time limits if needed. Please keep your microphone muted unless it's your turn to speak, and let the chair know if you plan to record the meeting. Most importantly, please be respectful of others so we can keep the meeting productive and focused. So I'll begin by taking attendance. Joanne Cossett.
Here.
Greg Douglas.
Here.
Mike Rivers. I see him. You're okay.
Here.
Thank you. Cinnamon Schwabel is not here tonight, I believe. Chuck Wagner.
Here.
And Karen Strauss is not here tonight, and I'm Janet Benjamins. So we start with a public comment. There's nobody at the town hall to address a public comment to us, and I don't think there's anyone online either. So next are regulatory determinations. A request for determination of applicability filed by Christine and Jennifer Ann Emond. The applicant proposes to construct a one-car garage with a living suite above the garage at property located at 380 Mill Road, map 11, Parcel 72. And a continuation until May 26, 2026 has been requested. So could I have a motion to continue to May 26, 2026?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second. Seconded.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So the meeting will be continued until May 26, 2026. Next are administrative matters. A certificate of compliance filed by Warren and Erica Thaler, SC 19-1623, for beach sand nourishment at property located at 35 West Road, map 4, parcel 533. Is there anyone here tonight to speak to this? I don't see the Thaler's name listed.
Hi, I'm here. Sorry, my voice is silly. I'm Jennifer Layton Gracia on behalf of the client. I work for Ty and Bond and submitted the application.
I'm sorry.
Yes, and Jennifer's the representative for the applicant, so she'll be able to speak to this.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, could you speak to this?
This is a very old order of conditions that was rolled into another order a few years after the original one. And that new order, which also included some work to the revetment, not just the nourishment, was closed with the certificate of compliance several years ago. And this order was sort of forgotten and just needs to be administratively closed. If anyone has any questions about it, I can answer them, but it's very straightforward if you compare the conditions from the original order, the next order, and then the certificate of compliance that was already issued.
So at this point, we'll just make a motion to, we'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for this one.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Could I have a motion for accepting the certificate of compliance, please?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. The certificate of compliance has been approved. Next.
Thank you. I apologize for my voice. I had surgery on my thyroid. So sorry. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So she's still on?
She thanked us for the
all right.
certificate of compliance. Yeah.
Next is the certificate of compliance filed by Kenneth Rotner, SE 19-1758, for demolishment of an existing building and constructing a new building at property located at 345 Shirtlift Road, map 7, parcel 165. I don't see that Mr. Rotner is online. There was a site visit out to Shirtlift this morning.
There was, and I can speak to that,
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
certainly. We visited and we looked at the property and compared the mitigation that we saw with what was on the original plan. And we were very impressed, in fact, that the mitigation is now a couple years old. The trees have grown in nicely, the bayberry's grown in nicely, and we were very pleased. There were two issues that we saw. One is that there were still straw wattle areas and plastic that was still in front of at the edge of the area of work. We also saw temporary sprinklers that were there, and after this amount of time, we would recommend that those sprinklers would be removed along with the wattle.
Any other comments?
No, I was there as well, and that was the wattles and the irrigation were the only questions that I had.
Alex, did you have any comments?
I think Mike and Greg covered this nicely, but just to reiterate that we would want the limit of work. So there's the silt fence and the straw wattles were still in place, and then also the temporary irrigation was in place as well. So perhaps we can continue this to the next meeting, and in the meantime, I can reach out to, I believe this was Tim Brady, and request that those items be removed from the site prior to us issuing the certificate of compliance.
So we need to continue it to May 26,
Correct.
2026. Could someone make a motion to that?
I move we continue this case to May 26, 2026.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So the certificate of compliance will be carried over to the next meeting, and with Alex getting in contact with Tim Brady and resolving those two issues. Thank you. Next is a certificate of compliance filed by Joanna Buffington, SC 19-1913, for maintaining open meadows and to control vegetation for safe access and wildlife habitat at properties located at 10, 20, and 30 Cartway South, Map 16, Parcels 14A, B, and 13. I see Joanne as,
Yes.
hi Joanna.
Janet. Good evening, committee members, and thanks to the visitors this morning. Came out and saw some of the great bird activity going on. And Verizon, we don't like big trucks out here, but that Verizon was out here too. So I'm Joanna Buffington. I'm the owner of 10 Cartway South, and my neighbors at 20 and 30, it's all the same wildlife area, and so each of us have a meadow that gets mowed once a year before mid-April for diamondback terrapin nesting, keeping things open and sandy. And these meadows also support amazing bird life that would not stop or stay here if those meadows weren't maintained. We have bird boxes on those that are monitored by Audubon volunteers, and lots of other migrators come through. I had a female kestrel for 2 days, very exciting. All the other little birds were a twitter. Huh, I had to make that joke. This kestrel is very small, but the other birds knew this kestrel was there, and they were very actively harassing her. So if anyone has questions, this is something we will hopefully be able to do annually until things change out here, which hopefully will not be soon.
Well, some of the commissioners were out there this morning, and Greg, did you have some comments?
Yes, we went out there and visited the wonderful site and walked through the area that was clearly well maintained and mowed on a yearly basis. I can just say it's a beautiful area, and it looks like it's being well taken care of.
Thank you. Alex, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I'll second what Greg mentioned. Joanna's been a wonderful steward of this property,
Yes.
and from what we observed today, there's very valuable early successional habitat that's being maintained on the property through this annual mowing, and it's great to hear about all the bird life that Joanna has on the property. Joanna mentioned pursuing ongoing conditions for ongoing annual mowing with the issuance of this certificate of compliance. So if the commission approves this COC request this evening, I would make the recommendations to include condition 14, which is a work notice to the Conservation Department. Condition 15 for mechanized equipment. Condition 16 outlines both the annual mow area and the annual vegetation management area. Condition 17 speaks to the utilities access and lawn mowing for both 10 Cartway South, 20 Cartway South, and 30 Cartway South. We would still want an annual monitoring report to be submitted to the Conservation Department. So that's condition 18. And then we would also want the MISA and NHESP conditions to be ongoing as well, and that includes the time of year restriction, the 5-year authorization duration, and notice to NHESP for any changes. And I wanted to speak to the NHESP authorization. While we are going to issue a certificate of compliance for this order with the ongoing conditions, Joanna, you would still need to renew the authorization with Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. This is a 5-year authorization from the state, and so that will expire, come the 5 years. So you would still have to renew that with the state, even though you would have a certificate of compliance, issued by the Eastham Conservation Commission. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep, okay. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Besides that, I don't have any other comments.
All right. Are there any other comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for SC 19-1913, including the ongoing conditions 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, contingent upon a valid MESA/NHESP certification.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So the condition of compliance has passed with the conditions that were applied to it. Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you all.
And thank you for your excellent stewardship.
Thank you. I believe the soon-to-be new stewards will be even better than I. So doing them a favor by passing on, getting the certificate of compliance on the deeds, but they all have these instructions, and the new stewards will as well. So thanks.
You're welcome. Next is a certificate of compliance filed by Michelle Neal and Pattinson Neal, SE 19-1829, for a stone revetment and annual sand nourishment at property located at 445 and 455 Turnip Road, map 4 and 7, parcel 449 and 491.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Bob Perry,
Thank you.
the applicant. I wanted to explain that we submitted the certificate of compliance application with attention to the requirements in the order. There was some interest in the lower stairway, and so we provided a photograph of the attachment mechanism and the dimensional details of the lower segment. The revetment was installed very well by my account. We've looked at the coastal bank. It's very well vegetated with the beach grass that was planted. We did want to discuss with you a modification to the sediment dose. There had been a volume in the order of conditions that I don't recall was discussed, and we've been going back through our research at the notice of intent time, and we arrived at the numbers that were referenced in our letter. I think it's 90 cubic yards for 445 and something slightly less for 455. And it's effectively approximately 6 10-wheel dump trucks that would be bringing that volume in. And that's based on a 3/4 of a foot per year rate. The CZM rate, which tracks the beach, was 0.9. And so erosion doesn't happen every year, and we outlined this in the letter. But with the sand dose as it's being administered, which is an excellent program, by the way, I think Eastham is probably the best throughout the Cape for compliance on sediment nourishment. Each year, having 90 cubic yards placed there is just a terrific amount of sand. And so Alex explained to me that this is a change that you might need to see in an amended order of conditions before you could memorialize it in a certificate of compliance. My 2 cents worth on that is I have a number of times handled modifications in nourishment requirements and procedures through the memorialization of a certificate of compliance. But if you can accept our reasoning on this, and if you do need an amended order, we'll proceed down that route. But that summarizes our certification request. Everything over there was very well done. And I'd like to hear what you have to say or answer any questions that I might. Thank you.
Alex, we have discussed similar things before, but you were going to make some comments?
Yeah, well, we did include this on our site visits this morning. So if Greg or Mike would like to comment on, our observations, and then after that, I could speak to the processes going forward that we would want for the nourishment change. And
Greg?
Yes, yes, we went and this morning the commission went out and took a look at the revetment and the bank area. And as Bob said, the revetment appears to be very well done, and it had recently obviously been sanded, and stairs were intact, and the bank was robust. So with respect to the construction of the revetment and the recovery of the bank, it all looks very good from my perspective.
Thank you, Greg. All right, back to you, Alex.
Okay. So to second what Greg said, it looks like the project was completed, as permitted. It's a very robustly vegetated coastal bank. They're current with their nourishment requirements. So as far as the compliance of this project, it's certainly there. When it comes to the change in nourishment, to be consistent with how the commission has treated prior changes in nourishment, as we've seen several this year, and as nourishment becomes more expensive, property owners are paying close attention to the amount of nourishment that is going on to their revetments. We would request an amended order to proceed with that change. this order is still valid through, I believe, early October.
Yes.
And so that amendment, can still happen.
Can we keep the COC application open, or would you like us to withdraw that?
Good question. I think,
Whichever.
I think perhaps withdraw it,
Sure.
and then we'll proceed with the amended order, and then once once we go through that process, we can revisit the request for a certificate of compliance.
Okay, that works for us. I don't want to overburden you with timing. All other circumstances remain constant. I don't think there's going to be any site changes. And we'll get right to it. So within a month or 6 weeks, I'm hopeful we can bring it back to you for conclusion.
Thank you.
Very good.
So I would make a request to withdraw the COC if that's something you need to vote on.
We'll take a vote.
Do any of the commissioners have any further comments? So then, the certificate of compliance request is going to be withdrawn, and an amended order of conditions will be submitted. So that's what we are voting on. Joanne?
So do you need a motion, or are we just voting?
For him to withdraw the request for the certificate of compliance, and then he will submit an amended order of conditions.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Thank you all. I'll be back to see you soon on that score. And I think I'm going to stick around for the next one.
All right. The next one is a certificate of compliance filed by Michelle Neal and Pattinson Neal, SC 19-1747, for the replacement of a 3-bedroom dwelling with a new 3-bedroom dwelling at property located at 445 Turnip Field Road, map 7, parcel 491. Are you speaking to that also, Mr. Perry?
Yes, I am. I agreed to adopt this from David Little, who I'm sure you know very well. David's retired and asked me to look after it. So the Neals agreed to that. And the application we submitted for COC, I felt that it was important just to document the mitigation plantings photographically. I thought that they had taken root and were thriving, although the March is not always the best time of year to be documenting these things. But even in March, the beech heather was blooming, and all the hardwood bayberries and beech plums were budding. And I thought that the bearberry was really robust, and the project was carried out, as far as I could tell from my research, very well and consistent with the plan, and that the mitigation plantings were coming along very well. I had asked for the plan from Hawk Design, and so they sent that to me. I think there was a small date difference, but I thought the things were growing back there very, very well. And I was hoping you would agree with that, or if you have any questions, I'd try to answer them.
Well, there was a site visit this morning, as we discussed a little while ago. So, Greg, did you want to speak to this?
Sure. Again, the commissioner went out and took a look at the property and looked at the plantings, and they seem to be doing very well. And we're consistent with with the plan as written. And you're right about the bearberry. That was just incredible to see that whole area that was pretty much overgrown. It was great. And we had one question, I think, one concern was, I believe the irrigation may still be in place. I was wondering if that.
Temporary, it probably is. It's not something that I noted, but I know it's not permanent, and we have expectations of rain. I don't think it's needed anymore, given the native varieties that are there. But I don't think it's hurting anything. The land slopes up from the house to the coastal bank, so it doesn't look to me like it could cause harm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If helpful, I could just add that over the past 3 years, it has been calibrated each year to reflect the maturity of the plantings. And so, you know, as you know, there was a suggestion that it might go for another season just to, you know, ensure that everything was, you know, thriving. But, you know, I just wanted to mention that it hasn't been kind of set and forget. It's been adjusted each year to be kind of less frequent than the year before.
Thank you. Amy, you had a question?
Yes, hi. Could the person that just spoke introduce themselves, please?
Oh, sorry. It's Michelle Neal Pattinson. I'm the homeowner.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for not catching that, Amy. Did any other commissioner have any comments to make? Alex, anything further?
The mitigation plantings, looked wonderful. The property in the back looked completely naturalized, and the bearberry again was pretty remarkable. It did come down to the irrigation, whether or not the commission decides to leave it or have the temporary irrigation removed. I think this is up for discussion tonight. But as far as I can see, the project looked compliant.
I would add that the irrigation, of course, isn't there to grow a lawn or anything. It's beneficial to the plants. I'm not sure it's needed anymore, but if there's a way for you to maybe let it stay for a year, but still issue the compliance, it would be super. I think you have the honor system here. The applicant certainly doesn't want that irrigation too long.
Is that possible?
If the commission would like so.
All right. Is there any commissioner who would like to speak in favor of that or against it? Greg?
Yes, I mean the plants are in excellent condition and they've been obviously well cared for. I personally wouldn't have a problem with extending it 1 year just to make sure that everything stays in its current condition. But I don't know the mechanism for doing that.
If the irrigation was remaining when it shouldn't, that would be an enforcement issue. And that's one way. Just my 2 cents worth.
Okay, Mike has a comment.
Yeah, I also visited today and I thought the ground cover was really lush and wonderful, and I'd love to keep it that way. I don't have a problem with the plan to let it run for another season.
Janet, can I ask, or Alex, is that something we can put in as an ongoing condition? Otherwise, it seems to me that the project would not have been fully completed. I don't have a problem with keeping the irrigation in place for a period of time, but just issuing the certificate of compliance when the work is not finished seems slightly off to me.
Can you consider a 1-year ongoing condition? And
Alex?
I'm thinking this through. What we could do is, I mean, we would issue the certificate of compliance. You know, I could also include a letter to the property owner, you know, expressing the commission's or instructing the property owner to remove the irrigation after one more growing season. I'm kind of thinking this through. I mean, at that point, I think it would be kind of on the honor system for the property owner to do that. You know, because we'll be more or less, you know, closing this out after issuing the certificate of compliance. So that's kind of where that would be if that was the route that we would, you know, if that's the route we choose to go in.
All right, now you say the honor system, and that means that at the end of the growing season, they would remove the temporary irrigation? Is that what I'm understanding, Mr. Perry?
that is correct, in my opinion. They would just have it for the summer and then it's done.
I could add that we do have somebody that helps us with the calibration and the maintenance of the system. He's called Paul from Rainmaker Irrigation. So we could, he would normally comes and winterizes it. So I could ensure that he's aware that before he turns it on for the season, because he normally waits until June to do it because it's not really needed until then, that obviously he would, be uninstalling it. Come September, I'm happy to countersign maybe the letter that Alex sends us acknowledging that, and then maybe follow up with an email or a letter to say that we have completed that, if that would work.
Or Alex, can I ask, are there any deadlines that we're running up against or expirations of permits or anything else that would make this a pressing matter to approve this evening? Otherwise, I might move that we continue this until the project is actually completed.
I don't know of any deadlines. I know very often people are interested in getting orders off their chain of title. The only thing I can add is this is very much focused on the location of the mitigation, which is very near the home, which is at the outer reaches of the buffer. I know that it was an order of conditions that you issued for the house. But not much I can add. It's the commission's choice. I see it as a fairly innocuous issue, but I know you have your procedures that you want to keep track of. That you have a good applicant here who will do the right thing. They're not gaining anything from keeping the irrigation except for a slight improvement to the flowers and plants. Up to you.
Thank you.
Suppose we, Janet, this is Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Is there a mechanism that we can modify this filing so it's a request to literally just extend the thing for a year instead of approving it tonight with an ongoing condition, because that's unenforceable?
Right. Well,
That would be, I have to say, I agree with Chuck. I think we've had a couple of, it sounds like the owner is very above board, very conscientious, but at the same time, I think we've seen a number of issues in the past where temporary irrigation has been left in place. I think that Alex himself has discovered over time. So I would be more comfortable with keeping this on the books until the project is complete.
Okay. So a question for Michelle through the chair. Michelle, can you have your irrigation specialist remove this when he makes his visit? Or are you comfortable waiting until the end of the summer to clear this out?
I'm going to speak to him about that. I just recall that there were times last summer where, the bayberry looked a little drier. And so I'd spoke to him over the summer to check whether it needed any adjustment. He felt that it didn't. So I think I'm going to speak to him and ask whether or not he thinks we'd be, obviously it was incredibly expensive to do all the planting. So I certainly wouldn't want 3 years of hard work to, basically be jeopardized. So I guess I could speak to him and ask if he thinks that it could be removed now. And I guess if he does, then we could ask him to do that.
So we would be interested in continuing this to a date certain, if the commission would allow that, while Michelle pursues that. And if the recommendation is that it should remain this summer, then we would communicate with the committee that we would either, again, refile the COC or request a continuation to October.
Thank you. Michelle, how much time do you think you would need to check this out? Would you want to continue it to May 26th or to the first June meeting?
I could certainly provide a commitment, I think, by the 26th, because I'm actually in the process of organizing it being turned on and providing access to our basement to do that. So we're just exchanging, phone calls around that at the moment. So the nature of my call and request would be slightly different. So I'm sure I could have an answer to that by the 26th. Whether or not it could be removed by the 26th, maybe potentially given other projects that they may have on, I'm not sure. But I'm sure that I could come back on the 26th and provide a clear response to next steps.
All right, thank you. So,
Can I make one more comment, Janet?
yes,
I'm personally hesitant to push people to remove the irrigation system at this time because we're still in a drought status here and they've worked hard to get the mitigation going, and we don't want it to die over a dry summer just because we wanted to get a filing finished. If anything else, I'd say, let's find out what the guy says, and we'll have a month to evaluate how much rain we've had, and if necessary, we can just continue it to the end of August.
sounds reasonable.
Okay. I mean, when you say continue it to the end of August, that would mean this would be like an open request for a COC. We'd come back at the end of August and say it's being removed, and then that would kind of wrap it up. Is that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There's an open certificate for now and close it at the end of August.
No, it's just that Bob was kind enough to pick this up, given it was kind of, a bit lost in limbo with.
Right, so it stays open, and as soon as the irrigation is documented as being removed, the issue returns to the committee for what I would guess is a vote.
Would be correct.
Will they have exceeded the time that's permitted?
I just want to confirm when this order will expire. I don't want it to expire.
Yeah.
I think it's October. I don't know that, I don't know the life of this one. This one, I'd be interested in that.
Yeah,
We're trying to check that out now.
yeah, I've got the file here.
I don't have that available. It's old. It may be,
Yeah,
this was acquired by an earlier applicant.
Yep. Yes, this one was issued in 2019. So unless there weren't, if there weren't any extensions, my fear is the order may be expired. Let me just look.
We didn't, I mean, we went, we had a, I mean, we had all of our own hearings and approvals with zoning and confirmation. Wouldn't that have basically started running from the time we were approved to commence our project?
So the order is it's a 3-year permit. And I mean, there were some tolling involved with COVID, but I think even with the COVID tolling, this may be expired. I'm looking back at the conditions here again, and I mean, there is condition 31, naturalized areas. All areas except the house and stepping stone areas shall be left to naturalize and contain no landscaping.
Hey,
It says
here you.
permanent irrigation or mulching, pruning of anything other than healthy vegetation is not permitted. I wonder if it's an option to issue a partial certificate of compliance.
Yeah, may I make one minor recommendation?
Yes.
Alex, is it possible to issue one ongoing condition which specifies 1 year? Because unless we think it's expired and you can't do that, is that what you're running into here?
Yeah, that's my
Yes.
issue.
Okay, so I think, I don't know that Michelle's selling. I don't know whether there's any urgency. It's up to Michelle. I think one thing to do here is if you can't extend this or do an ongoing condition, then we need to either decide that the irrigation remaining is something that could fit into some sort of administrative approval, therefore being not so intensely bothersome, or if it is a real stickler, then we need to either postpone the COC or have the irrigation removed before you can vote. Is it-
Right now, we can't find an extension issued, so
We had 4 years on COVID.
If we're not clear on it right now, we could give ourselves a month, or as Chuck mentioned, because of the current weather conditions, I don't think anyone on the commission or any employee of the town would cite you for violations at this point. You've showed up at the committee, you're trying to fix this. I think, Bob, you're always talking about informal solutions to this. I don't think anyone's going to get a violation right now until we figure it out. And we've done the proper thing of, removing the irrigation at a time of year that allows for the plants to continue flourishing. So I think if we're not quite clear, we pick a date in a month or so when we are able to figure it out. And if we can't issue the certificate of compliance at that time, we do so. And if not, whatever the proper
Right.
action
I think
is,
that's,
will be more clear.
that sounds fair from my point of view.
Yeah, I think the only reason I guess what's confusing to me is that we're only in the 3rd year of the irrigation. So isn't that within what would have been expected? Or
Well, there
I'm
was,
just wondering what the technicality is, because I guess this kind of fell through the cracks with David Little's retirement. So I'm just wondering what went wrong.
well, I think that you're raising a good point. We have 4-year COVID extension. I think it was 4, and then a 2-year Mass Leads Act in 2024, but that's 6. And if it was issued in 2019, unless we can find a reported extension, I think rather than, we're just not going to find that out tonight unless Alex has something in his file, because I don't. I did have trouble finding this order because it wasn't in this current applicant's name. It was under the former owner. So I think There seems to be some things here that are not fully sorted out. The irrigation, to my thinking, is something that, we don't want to rub the committee the wrong way or put you into an area you're not comfortable. So it strikes me that this should be continued based on this discussion until Michelle can speak to her irrigation specialist, and I would do some more research on the timing.
What would be the meeting in June? All right, so I am going to suggest a continuation. I would like to know what you think is, or what Michelle thinks would be a good time, May 26th or the first meeting in June. Would that give you enough time to check out these matters? And meanwhile, we'll be checking to find out if we have some extensions that we can't find right now.
The first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can definitely provide a response to the question around should we remove it pre-season or post-season by the 26th. Yeah, I have no concern about being able to do that. I'm just confused about what the technicality is, because I know that we obviously had a permit to.
Oh, Michelle,
yes.
through the chair, orders of conditions do expire. I don't know that that's a critical issue for this committee unless they can explain why it would be. The only difference is if the order has expired, I don't believe they can issue any ongoing conditions, but that would be it. Am I right, Alex?
So we have issued ongoing conditions for orders that have expired in the past. With this one, I'm confused as to what the ongoing condition would be that you would want.
Oh, it would just be let the irrigation stay for 1 year, specify it as 1 year.
So with how we've done it here is that we can't, so if it's not in a condition that's currently in the order, we can't make it an ongoing.
I see, okay.
We would be pulling conditions from the order of conditions.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, then that settles that. I think you read something in there. There can be no permanent irrigation as a condition in the order. Is that in there?
There is, yes. I'm looking through the order here, and it's condition number 31, naturalized areas. All areas except the house and the stepping stone areas shall be left to naturalize and contain no landscaping, permanent irrigation, or mulching. My thought was, perhaps that would be a way to, we could issue a partial certificate of compliance, and then once the irrigation is removed, we could pursue the full.
Oh, Michelle, are you satisfied with that, Michelle?
Yeah. Yes, of course. I mean,
Okay.
Again, I don't know the impacts of.
Well, no, I'll explain it to you later.
Okay, but yeah,
That's a
that's
good
fine. I'm perfectly happy with that.
That would be acceptable, Alex.
Okay. And if
We want to do the right thing, whether there's anything's enforced or not. So we'll, obviously just do it, whatever is needed.
And if the commission's comfortable with that, tonight we'd be issuing a partial certificate of compliance. And then once the irrigation is removed, we would then pursue the full certificate.
The commissioners in agreement with that? Does that sound reasonable? Or is there something else we should consider?
Fine with me.
Yeah, fine with me. How about I make it easy and move for a partial certificate of compliance for SE 191747 on the condition that the applicant return later to address the issue of the temporary irrigation system.
Thank
So
you. Is
moved.
there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes?
Greg?
Yes.
And I am a yes, so we will issue a partial certificate of compliance with the with the irrigation. When the irrigation is finished at the end of the season, that a certificate of compliance would be requested to finish out the order.
Perfect. That's a great
Okay.
solution. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I think I heard a vote.
Everyone commented and come to that and try to help you. So thank you for your input, and thank you, Michelle.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
again and good night.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Good
Thank-
night.
Next is a continuation of certificate of compliance filed by Bradford Jr. and Stacy Linwood for SC 19-30. Oh, I'm sorry. For maintaining a bulkhead structure at property located at 225 Sparrow Road, map 4, parcel 190. Is there someone here to speak about that tonight, representing the Sparrow Road property? I don't see Linwood listed on the participants. Is there a representative to speak to it?
If I may.
Alex?
Yeah, through the chair. This was a certificate of compliance submitted by Tim Brady. I don't believe Tim Brady's able to make it here tonight, but he did provide the commission with additional information regarding how the tires were removed for this project. If the commission recalls, this is a very, very, very old order. And it involved the placement of tires out on the tidal flats. Those tires have since been removed, so there's not really much, for the commission to approve when it comes to the compliance of this project. But at the last meeting, the commission did want some additional information on how the tires were removed prior to us issuing a certificate of compliance. And when I reviewed that, I felt comfortable with the commission issuing a certificate of compliance for this project, unless the commission has additional questions for Mr. Brady, we can, continue this to the next meeting if needed.
And Mr. Brady's not here tonight, correct? I don't see his name.
Correct.
Did any of the commissioners have any comments about this? There was no site visit today. Greg?
No, I mean, I read the letter and they had some pictures. It seemed like it was pretty much what we had asked for with respect to an explanation of how the tires were removed and what eventually happened to them. So I'm satisfied with the letter.
Thank you, Greg. Mike?
I agree. I thought the pictures were pretty poignant about how that one storm brought a whole bunch of tires up. There's a really good picture of a whole bunch of tires, and he had them removed. And now we don't know where they went, but I don't think at this late date we're going to find that out. But I think she was trying to do a good deed. I don't think anybody was trying to get away with anything. And certainly we don't want a bunch of rubber tires sitting on the beach. It looks much nicer now when we visited. So I'm also happy with the response, and I'm ready to go forward.
Thank you, Mike. Were there any other comments from other commissioners? So would someone like to make a motion? To
I'll move we issue a certificate of compliance for SC 19-30. This is 30, right, Alex? Is there two here?
Correct, yep.
Yes, so I move we issue a certificate of compliance for SC 19-30.
Thank you. Second?
Seconded.
Okay. Joanne?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes,
Mike?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So the certificate of compliance has been approved for SC 19-30. Next is a continuation of a certificate of compliance filed by Bradford Jr. and Stacy Linwood, SC 19-267, for maintaining a bulkhead structure at property located at 225 Sparrow Road, map 4, parcel 190, SE 19-267.
Am I good, if I may?
Alex?
Okay.
Yes.
Through the chair again, this is also another certificate of compliance request made by Tim Brady. Again, he's not able to make it here tonight. This was continued from our last meeting, and the commission wanted additional information on the approval of the complete replacement of the bulkhead. And since the last meeting, Tim Brady was able to find the approval. This is from back in 2005, that at the Henry Lind, the natural resource officer / conservation agent at the time, did grant permission for this bulkhead to be completely replaced under this order, and so that approval has been found. And so at this point, like the last order, I feel comfortable with the commission issuing a certificate of compliance.
Thanks, Alex. Are there any comments from the commissioners or homeowners? And Mr. Brady isn't here. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the certificate of compliance for SC 19-267.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Chuck?
yes,
Mike?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. It has been approved. Thank you. Next is continuation of a certificate of compliance filed by John and Jane Malloy, SC 19-1579, for the demolition of an existing addition and construction of a larger addition, hardscaping and an outdoor kitchen, foundation plantings, removing beach grass and bearberry, and planting non-native plants and driveway improvements at property located at 25 Bayview Drive, map 13, parcel 49. And was there a request to continue this to June 9th?
There may have been, let me ask. Did we get a request for this one, Amy, to continue?
Hold on, I have to look.
I didn't have that written down, but that may be the case.
In your report, you said it was continuing to the.
Is there anyone to speak to this?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, but I believe it was. Is there a continuation request in the folder?
It's probably a good spot to look, huh? This one, this one. 31 Bayberry. I don't see one, but if the representative isn't here this evening, this would be one that we would need to continue to May 26th.
Is there a representative to speak to this?
Doesn't appear to be.
I don't see,
So we'll continue this one.
all right. So may I have a motion to continue this to June 9th, 2026?
Move we continue to June 9th, 2026.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Chuck?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So this will be continued to June 9th, 2026. Next is an administrative review filed by David and Julie Springwater. The applicant proposes to remove 6 trees and remove a branch from another tree at property located at 30 Drake Circle, map 16, parcel 002. Is there anyone to speak to this? A representative for the Springwaters? Or I don't see the Springwaters name on our list of attendees. There's no representative. Mike, you were out this morning and you had some thoughts about this?
Yes, we were concerned at the number of trees. If you go to the description of project, there were 7 different trees that were marked. There was one tree that was that had fallen during the recent storm. There was another branch that had fallen from the recent storm. We felt those were very reasonable. There's a what they describe as a large cherry tree growing at extreme angle and badly infected with black knot. And what we found is a large cherry tree growing at an extreme angle that had been there for years because the very top of the tree had reoriented and was going straight up in the air and had early buds and leaves on it. There was a black knot on it, but the tree, in fact, looked pretty healthy, even though it was canted at about 45 degrees. We also found 2 snags down near the edge of the property with growth on them, and the trees had signs of infestation, and we noted that the woodpeckers were using those for food. So we felt that both of those snags at the end were actually productive for the environment. So we would actually like to have a conversation with the homeowner about which trees and the specific issues with some of these other snags, especially whether we talk to the homeowner about mitigation if these trees are removed, or plan on not removing some of the trees.
I would like to hear from either the homeowner or a representative about this. So I would consider continuing this to the next meeting. But are there comments from any of the commissioners about this? Greg? Greg? You're on mute.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I agree with Mike, and there were a number of questions with respect to the conditions of the trees and whether it was the best thing to do to remove them. For one of the trees, for example, the cedar tree had, several limbs that had broken off during the storm, but clearly it would be possible to just prune those. So I think we need to have a further discussion on the status of these particular trees. So.
Thank you. Did any other commissioner have a comment?
I have a question, Janet. I just wanted to ask for those who were at the site visit. I agree that we should probably speak to the property owner, but were there any trees that appeared to be threatening, any damage to property or anything like that, so that we would need to discuss those now, or can this wait? It looks like most of them are pretty far away from the house.
Thank you, Joanne.
And this is Greg. I just wanted to say I didn't think any of the trees were, if we didn't do anything, would have an effect on the property. At this point.
Agreed.
Well, this is Chuck. There was a huge amount of vegetation approved to be removed with this project. Now, there was a lot of invasives in there, but there was a lot of vegetation removed. And I agree that it's better to talk to them and kind of hold back on pulling very much else out unless it really necessary.
Thanks, Chuck. I am going to suggest that we continue this to our next meeting, May 26, 2026. Could someone make a motion to that?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
Thank you. Joanne?
yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. So this will be continued to May 26th. And I hope we'll have a homeowner here or a representative to talk to us about this. Next is after the fact administrative review filed by Linwood and Stacy Bradford. The applicant proposes to install windbreaking fencing near the top of the coastal bank at property located at 225 Sparrow Road, Map 1, Parcel 190. Is there a representative to speak to this? Alex.
Yeah, through the chair, this is an after-fact administrative review submitted by Tim Brady again, who was not able to make it tonight. This was fencing that was observed at 225 Sparrow Road during the on-site for a certificate of compliance. This fencing was installed at the top of the coastal bank as a windbreak to some cedar tree saplings that were planted as mitigation. And so tonight the commission can either approve this after the fact administrative review for this windbreak fencing. They could deny it and request or require it to be removed, or we can continue this to the next meeting.
All right, now, It was my understanding that some of the fencing may be on a neighbor's property.
Correct. It does appear that at least one or two panels of the fencing is on the abutting property.
And we don't have information about the fence material and what specifically they were protecting with the windbreak fence, the 3 fences. And no mitigation was proposed. Before we can permit anything, we have to make sure that neither the fences are on the neighbor's property or that part of the fence isn't on the neighbor's property. And since there's no one here to speak to that tonight, I'm going to suggest that we continue this to May 26th.
I think we should add another point, which is we don't know whether they're intended to be permanent or temporary. Well,
Okay, that sounds reasonable. So in the motion, we want to request that we'd have some information about the fence material, what they were actually protecting with the fence material, given that the windbreak fence was supposed to protect something, we'd need to have some kind of proof or acknowledgement that part of the fence is not on the neighbor's property. And also, we'd like to have some mitigation suggested. So that's my brief motion. So,
So move.
thank you.
what you-
Thank you. So, Chuck,
Yes,
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you. Next is a public hearing. A notice of intent filed by Michael and Allison Garrity. The applicant proposes to replace the septic system at property located at 65 Harms Way. And I think Mr. O'Reilly or one of his representatives was going to be speaking to this.
Yes, good evening, Chair. Bob Reedy, engineer with J.M. O'Reilly and Associates, here tonight on behalf of the Garrity's. How are you?
Did you have some comments you wanted to make?
Yep, sure. So what we're here, as the chair noted, is for the replacement of an existing failed septic system with an IA septic system using an Advantex treatment unit. The proposed septic system will go within largely the same location as the existing septic system. As noted, this is on Harm's Way. As we noted in the narrative and in the application, there are several wetland resources that the disturbed area for the septic system is either within or within the buffer zones for. I can certainly list all those out if the commission likes, but as I noted, they're all within the narrative. There is an existing retaining wall that provides some high ground, which is needed in order for us to get the leaching facility high enough up so that we are providing the necessary separation from the bottom of the leaching facility to adjusted high groundwater. So it's kind of hamstrung us as to where the location for the septic system can go. It really needs to be right adjacent to that existing wall there where we have the highest available elevation. The vegetation in the area is largely invasives My understanding is most of that vegetation came in, since the time of the past septic system that was installed there, which I believe was installed in the last 30 years, so not all that long ago. So all of the vegetation that's obviously needs to be removed would be replaced with American beach grass, as noted on the plans. The project also proposes a sand fence that would contain erosion within the area. You can see the limit of work shown on the plan. One other thing I want to note for anyone that was at the site today or when you went to visit the site, we did notice that there are several young eastern red cedar trees that are right along the retaining wall there. So made an adjustment to where the limit of work would go so as to keep those outside of the limit of work area. So we tighten up the access area to go essentially to the north of that area. And we can certainly provide a revised plan showing that limit of work, or we could just mark it up on the plan. But the stakes shown on the property represent where the limit of work will go. You see, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission has about this one. There's no other work proposed. It's just the replacement of the septic system.
Were there questions from any of the commissioners about this?
I'd like to
Greg?
discuss what the site looked like today. Greg and I and Alex visited the site. As you can see from the engineering drawings, this is very close to the bay. This is a coastal bank with a very flat face. On top of the proposed area of work, we did notice those cedar trees, and I'm glad you addressed those. We did see within one of the stakes, though, we did see one of the cedars still within that, which we are assuming you're going to take down because it was in your stakes. As you can see from the engineering diagram, there is a cement wall that's existing, which is in between the driveway and the coastal bank. So one of the questions I had was, how do you plan on getting equipment up over that concrete bank? The second question I had is that the existing septic field goes right up to the face of the coastal bank. And do you anticipate that any of that face, which is right on the beach, is going to be disturbed? And have you thought about addressing that in any way?
So I guess going into the second question first, one method of addressing it is certainly by the installation of the sand fence and obviously the limit of work during construction. Unfortunately, in terms of, opportunities for, as I noted, relocating the system, we really don't have a better spot. This is just a very tough site to find, a 4-bedroom septic system location that's really going to make sense. So this is the location that we felt would be the best possible location and obviously allow us to meet Title V regulations to the best possible extent. Once the beach grass is grown in, that's certainly going to do, I would say, a better job than the existing invasives, though they are pretty well grown in, obviously, not native to the area and not able to perform the same stabilization benefits as beach grass once grown in. But related to the first question, the access is going to be tight. We are, as you can see, proposing a leaching facility that does not involve any concrete. That's intentional so as to minimize the amount of heavy equipment that needs to be lifted up into that area. That should also limit the amount of the size of excavator that's required to come up there, as opposed to if it was concrete and stone that we were putting in there. So certainly the Title V design was put in with a thought towards minimizing the amount of impact during construction. Unfortunately, as it relates to the tank itself, the Advantex system, that does need to be concrete. That's just part of keeping the buoyancy the way it's supposed to be. And, you know, just because of the complex design of the Advantex system, there isn't a plastic option there. But septic tank itself, you know, for that, they would, you know, essentially try to lift it up there. And then, you know, the excavator could put it in place from there. But they would have to have some level of shoring in place in the area where the patio is, in order to protect the wall and make sure that they can get up equipment up the top of the wall in that area that's, you know, within where we're showing on the limit of work.
And just to be clear, the cedars that are right against the wall, you're not planning on removing those to make it easier to get the tank in and get everything else in. You're going to have to lift it over those cedars to get it into that area.
Yeah, and it's really going to kind of come around the side from where those cedars are, more where the patio is, you know, so that's really going to be the primary access, is that edge of driveway that's closer to where the patio is. You know, I was at the site today myself. You know, I should probably have noted during the presentation, this project is actually John O'Reilly's project from our office, but he had a conflict tonight, so I'm here presenting it on his behalf. So I wanted to stop by and make sure I was understanding everything about the project. And I think I know what you're talking about. There's one cedar that's up on the high side of the retaining wall. I would hope that it could potentially be saved, despite the fact that it's within the limit of work, because it's right up against the edge of wall there. But obviously that's something that it's so close to the leaching facility that could be difficult. You know, having said that, they're not going to want to excavate right up to the edge of the wall. So it certainly would be an area they'd try to leave undisturbed if possible.
I'll make one last point. It would have been helpful if someone from your office had been on site with us today to help answer those questions while we were on site.
Oh, Greg, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had a quick question about the leach field. How deep is the leach? Is the leach field buried, and is there plantings on top of it? Because that area seems very not very stable without a good amount of solid plantings. What is the situation with the leach field?
So the leach field is buried at minimum depth, per Title V regulations. And it's also at the minimum separation distance from groundwater. So it's at 5.1 feet from groundwater to the bottom of the leaching facility. So it's really locked in terms of the elevation it needs to be at. But there's very minimal amount of regrading proposed. Essentially, the existing grade will largely stay the same. There is a small area that's kind of depressed on the side of the retaining wall that will need to more level off with the elevation of the retaining wall there. But you know, there's not really any proposed grade changes or anything like that that would make things worse than the existing conditions. I would assume that the leveling of it would make it better. And obviously the plantings of the beach grass would be the primary, you know, stabilization in the long term.
So above the leach field, there'll be beach grass.
Yes, it would be fully planted over the leach field. It's not going to be mounded relative to the surrounding grades.
Were there any other
That's all I have.
comments or questions? Greg, was your answer, was the
Yes.
answer satisfactory?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Alex, did you have any comments about this?
No further comments on my end. I will just note for the record that I believe we are still waiting for the DEP number and a MESA determination for this project. And so we would have to continue this until the next meeting so the commission has time to review the MESA determination prior to approval.
And has National Heritage responded?
That's what I was just speaking to. Yep. So we are still waiting for their determination on this project.
As well as DEP?
Correct.
Okay. So because we don't have the DEP number and we have not heard from National Heritage, we will have to continue this notice of intent. for 65 Harm's Way to, should we do it May 26th? That would give us 2 weeks.
Yeah, I expect we'll get these in short order, so a continuation till the 26th would make sense to me.
All right, so may I have a motion to continue this to May 26, 2026?
Seconded.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes,
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So this notice of intent will be continued to May 26.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your input. And it's been brought to my attention that I skipped 31 Bayberry Lane. And I have seen the name Sarah Rosenberg Scott on the screen, and I should have been a little more aware. So we have to go back to the continuation of the certificate of compliance filed by the Scott Family Irrevocable Trust, SC 19-1565, for the demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new dwelling and additions, screen porch, reconstruction of an existing deck, porches, and outdoor shower at property located at 31 Bayberry Lane, map 13, parcel 157. And I see that one of the owners, okay, it looks like both of the owners are present to speak to this.
I'm not an owner, but
And
my name is Andrew Garreley. I'm the registered landscape architect with Down Cape Engineering, and I'm the person that made the plan that we sent in for the compliance. As you could see, this is a very old order of conditions. It never was requested for a certificate of compliance until recently. The property came up for another matter. I think it had to do with beach nourishment, and it was discovered that this order of conditions was never given a certificate of compliance. And I was sent out by Down Cape Engineering to do the inspection, and upon arrival, I could see that it was not going to be in the condition where it would be issued a certificate of compliance. So I met with Alex Bates to discuss it, and we took a look around the property to see how best we could resolve this. And so what you have, what we had sent, which I assume is in front of you, is a plan on finishing a restoration that was either didn't make it or was inadequately done. And I'm proposing to infill areas that are thin with native woody plants. And I don't know how much you want me to get into the detail of the plan, or if you've looked at it closely and have had a chance to see what I'm proposing. But it has, in an area where there was supposed to be beach grass, there was nothing in terms of vegetation, but there was also pea stone added to the area. I think what happened was they may have had some beach grass there, and they got concerned about ticks and also dust blowing, so they made the mistake of putting in pea gravel over much of the area that was supposed to be mitigated. There were plants planted as well. Some of them are there and doing okay, but it's thin and also covered with pea stone, which I'm pretty sure you're going to want removed. So we propose to remove it, except around the walkway where it stabilizes the stepping stones, and also, will keep ticks away. And and keep things from blowing any mulch or any sand. The plants that we're proposing, instead of having the beach grass because of the concern of ticks, proposing to use American bearberry, and also in some areas sweet fern, bush cinquefoil, northern bayberry, staghorn sumac, and juneberry, and inkberry as well, if I didn't mention that. And just to infill, remove the pea stone and infill with these native plants.
Thank you very much for your very comprehensive submittal.
Thank you.
Did the homeowners have any comments to make?
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, Andrew, and through the chair, thank you for just considering our this certificate. And we've been in front of you in the past few weeks talking about sand renourishment, and honestly didn't even know that this certificate was still open until we started the process of reevaluating the sand renourishment. And so we are really here just to figure out how we can get back on track with the certificate and be in compliance, and being part-time homeowners, which is absolutely, or part-time residents, no excuse there. We just got off track. We lost connection with our original contractor and landscaper, and then COVID happened and we were using a local source, and we really got off, and we are happy to be here and get back on track. That pea stone that is over everything, honestly, was a complete surprise to us as well at the end of last season, and we're planning on getting back and mitigating that as we are back over this summer. So thank you for consideration. Thank you for helping us figure out what the right next steps are. Thank you, Andrew, for being here, and we will leave it to Andrew to discuss the details, which is a little bit beyond our knowledge, but we're happy to explain any of our concerns around ticks. I would say that that is just the one thing about the beach grass right on the bay side, but thanks for the consideration.
Welcome. Thank you for attending. So you and Mr. Earle are pretty much in agreement about removing the pea stone from the restoration area. And planting various plantings that he listed that are non-invasive and will infill with the native woody shrubs in areas that aren't vegetated. And another comment was there's a permanent irrigation system which would have to be removed. So it looks as if we cannot approve the condition of compliance, but possibly have you submit an RDA, which you could discuss with Alex to help move this along and take care of the items that are a problem, and then the condition of compliance could be approved once these are done. Pardon, did you say something? Oh, okay. So,
If I may.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, through the chair, we did discuss this, and we thought, the process that made the most sense to us and would move this along in a quick manner would be to submit to the commission a request for determination of applicability to address the issues of noncompliance with the current order. Since this order is expired, we can't allow any additional work to happen under it. So, the areas of issue could be permitted with an RDA, and once that work is completed, we can then revisit this request for a certificate of compliance, and once it's deemed compliant, we could then close it out. Does that make sense?
if I could speak on that.
Sure.
While we have the plan submitted, what I would like to have is any questions of whether or not this would be adequate. It'd be nice to know ahead of time that we have the right plan in place, that you would approve, would likely approve under an RDA. Until you have it, I know you can't approve it. But I'd like to have some feedback on that to make sure we're on the right track and have a good plan for you.
I am going to suggest to use Alex's time and perhaps have you meet out there at 31 Bay Lane with him and ensure that these issues that are a problem are understood by you and the homeowners, and then you can move ahead.
So I have met with on site, and so we have discussed the issues that are outlined in the letter here. And so, if I'm understanding you, you want feedback from the commission as to what additional plantings would be sufficient to mitigate the issues.
The plan that I submitted, I would like to know if that looks to be adequate. In order to keep things efficient and not waste your time when we come back to with an RDA, it would be nice to know that this plan is looks substantially what you'd like to have.
Yep.
Which was the intent of
Yep.
Sending it in at this point.
Yep. I mean, I'll let the commission speak to this as well, but, I did review the plan and it did look, sufficient to me. Unless the commission has any concerns, I'd be comfortable with the applicant proceeding with the mitigation plan that was submitted to the commission. This would, again, be included in a request for a determination of applicability.
Were there questions? Joanne?
Just to double check, I know we started discussing in brief the irrigation system, but is it the intent to try and keep that for a while? Do we need to do any further establishing of plants so that we would want to keep that system around, or is that an easy, we're willing to remove it if that's what the commission wants? For me, I think the plantings look great. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with any need for irrigation. Thanks.
I think it would be important to at least, since the irrigation system is in place, while after we come in with the RDA, in order to get these plants off the ground in the first couple of years, I think it would be good to be able to allow them to keep it at least temporarily for those first couple of years, if that sounds reasonable.
I think I'd be okay with that. We're talking about kind of what, the RDA would look like. I think I'd be okay with that if it were temporary irrigation. So no problem for me.
Thank you.
Were there any other comments from any of the other commissioners? I note that the order of conditions has expired, that additional work would need an RDA. So the COC request should be withdrawn until that is done.
Yes. Yes, agreed.
You're in agreement with that? All right. And if there's no other comment from the commissioners or the homeowners, Mr. Earle, I will entertain a motion to accept the withdrawal of the COC request for SC 191565.
So moved.
Thank you, Chuck. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So the COC request will be withdrawn, and then an RDA will be submitted to do the work, and once that's completed, the certificate for compliance can be resubmitted. Okay?
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for all of you being here tonight and for speaking with us. I appreciate it. And thank you, as I said, for your very comprehensive report.
Thank you all for seeing us over the last few weeks. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Next, our staff updates. Alex?
Staff updates. I did provide the commission with the notice of intent to sell. This is from 10 Cartway North. This is more so just as an FYI for the commission. It doesn't require any action on your part this evening. But this is a property that's the owners, the Nauset Land Trust, is in a sale agreement to sell the property to the Native Lands Conservancy, which is a conservation nonprofit. You know, this is a very large piece of property adjacent to the Cartway South properties that we were just at this morning with Joanna. And so, you know, it's good to see that there is a conservation organization that is you know, interested in purchasing this property. And so, you know, I wanted to pass this along to the commission. If there's any questions on this, I could do my best to answer it. So that's that. Any questions from the commission on this?
And I think Joanna has signed off, so
Yeah, she expressed her excitement about this this sale this morning, and so it's good to see that, you know, a conservation organization will be purchasing this property. It seems like.
So the town, I understand the town of Eastham is given first refusal on the property?
They are, you know, whether or not the town is, you know, pursuing that, you know, I'm unsure. I can't really speak to that this evening. But since there is a conservation organization, you know, interested in purchasing the property, you know, I suspect there's a lot of support behind that, so.
And not spend money on something that's already protected.
That's right.
All right. And we don't vote on this.
No vote needed tonight, no.
All right.
We'll save your votes for later.
So next is the minutes of April 14th, 2026. Has everyone been able to read them? I know Amy made some changes, very few changes. If everyone agrees, could we have a motion to approve the minutes for April 14th, 2026?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
So Second,
Thank you. Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck,
yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. The minutes were approved. Next are a series of violations. 30 Sander Lane, 150 Old State Highway, the BMADA truck access, but also we have some emergency certifications.
We'll do the violations first.
Hmm?
We'll do the violations first, and then move
Oh,
on.
you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will deal with those first. Alex?
Yes, for violations, I think the commission has heard brief updates on this one during prior meetings. For 30 Sander Lane, just to give a quick backstory here, the Eastham Conservation Foundation, as you know, they're the local land trust. They were doing property monitoring of a large parcel they own in North Sunken Meadow, and they noticed some substantial vegetation cutting, tree cutting, and then there's some other vegetation disturbance that was observed. And so I followed up with a letter to the property owner of 30 Sander Lane, trying to get some more information as to what happened here. I did hear back from the property owner. He's here with us tonight. Mr. Gerlach, he's been very forthcoming about this and has been eager to work with the commission to fix this. We did have a site visit out here this morning, so Mike and Greg got a chance to see it. The tree cutting is on ECF property, but the other vegetation disturbance is on 30 Sander Lane. So I think I'll let the property owner speak to it at the moment, and then we'll have a further discussion as to how to proceed.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm Torge Gerlach. I'm the property owner, 30 Sander Lane. We've owned this property for about 18 years, and I want to thank the commission for bringing these issues to my attention. A couple of things. There's really two different issues. As Alex mentioned, there's some tree cutting that is just off our property and was not done by us. I have some thoughts about how that was done, but that was not done by us. The other disturbance of vegetation is something I addressed, whereby my landscaper ground down some old debris of tree trimmings, branches that came down in the storm, most of which had been on the property when we purchased it 18 years ago. So it's been there for a long time. It was just a big pile of old branches that were sitting on the edge of my property. We have about a 4-acre piece of property here that abuts that conservation land. And he ground that down quite substantially, ground down the branches he could grind down with his equipment. And then when I came up to visit, after Alex notified me, after I received the letter, it's clear that he pushed some of the larger branches and even some tree trunks, it looks like, down a little bit further off our property into what is essentially the fall off of the land into the wetlands. And like I said, I really appreciate having this brought to my attention so I can mitigate it, address it. And talking to Alex, and I think it was Mike and Greg this morning who came here. Again, thanks for coming over. The recommendation, I think, is to pull that back out, bring it back up onto my property and have it properly removed or addressed. I did talk to the landscaper this morning, Alex, after you all came, and I look forward to following that up and getting further instructions or guidance as to how to best address that issue. I think the more significant concern that I share is the cutting of trees down towards the end of my property and a little bit off property in the wetlands, and I'll let Alex or others speak to that as to what you observed there and what needs to be done with that. Again, that was not done by us.
Thank you. I think we'll speak to the brush the brush that was piled up on your property line. I'll speak to that first, and then we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll address the tree cutting. As far as addressing that issue, it would be my recommendation, and the commission can speak to this as well, that if we could have your landscaper submit some protocols that he would follow to remove that debris off the property line and away from the resource area, and then have that staged somewhere outside of conservation's jurisdiction. At that point, we could if we could have that submitted to the commission by our next meeting, and the commission could approve those protocols, and then once that work is completed, I can conduct a site visit, and we can see if any additional mitigation is required. It looked like vegetation disturbance was perhaps at a minimum. It was just a lot of debris. So if the commission is comfortable with that, that would be my recommendation on how to address the debris issue. So I guess I'll open it up to the commission at this point regarding that issue, and then we'll move on to the trees after that. And if Michael or Greg want it.
Great. You're muted.
Yeah, I can speak. I can speak quickly. Torgy, thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for meeting us at your property today, and we appreciate your interest in conservation land. And I completely agree with Alex. I think this is a matter of how do we clean it up, and it seems like you're very interested in cleaning it up. So let's get it done. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Greg, you had your hand up earlier.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Alex as well. I think this is a matter that can be resolved relatively quickly, and I'm looking forward to getting it done. It'd be great. I agree with Alex on this.
Okay.
Alex, can I put the landscaper in touch with you? And when you say protocol, I want to make sure he knows what he needs to do. I think he had worked with you on something before. He
Okay.
says he knows you. So if I can introduce him to you, that would be great.
That'd be great.
And I want to get that done.
Yeah, that'd be great. And if I'm just trying to think of a timeline here, we could either have those protocols submitted by our next meeting. If 2 weeks is a tight turnaround, perhaps we have that submitted by the first meeting in June. I'm also okay with that. But I'd be happy to talk to your landscaper and kind of walk them through that process. If the commission's comfortable with that.
I don't think we vote on it, right?
I would vote on it to have the landscaper submit to the conservation department protocols for the debris removal prior to, let's say, the first meeting in June, if the commission's okay with that.
Okay. Could someone make a motion to have the landscaper submit protocols before June 9th for the removal of the vegetation at 30 Center Lane?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Seconded.
Thank you. Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes?
and I'm a yes. All
Okay,
right.
thank you. And for the second issue, in my mind, this is more substantial. There were some significant cutting of mature, what looked to be black tupelos in the resource area. So this is on ECF property, and as Mr. Gerlach mentioned, there was some cutting on his property too. I trust that the property owner wasn't the person who did this. There's the possibility that this may have been an abutting property who did the cutting to open up a view. And so at this point, I have not reached out to this property owner. I think at this point, it would be appropriate for me to follow up with a letter to the abutting property owner and start a conversation with them regarding this violation. And so if the commission approves of that, I can certainly send out that letter, this week, and then come back to the commission at our next meeting with a further update. But if Mike or Greg want to add their input on what they saw at the site this morning as well, I think Greg and Mike would both agree that that there was, I think, upwards of eight large trees that were cut, and it was pretty shocking.
Yeah, this is Greg, and yes, I agree. I mean, this is a serious issue, one of the more serious ones I've seen, and it was a substantial number of very mature trees had been just cut for whatever reason, but it's a serious problem, and so I would support Alex in contacting the homeowner.
And fines may be in order.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I think I would like to establish contact with the property owner first before we, address any fines. But I would say, depending on how that conversation goes, potentially. So I would hold off on that until we have, kind of a better understanding on the issue. And so at this point, with the commission's approval, I will reach out to the other property owner.
If everyone is in agreement, for Alex to reach out to the homeowner and get some more input on this, and then we'll follow up and decide how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second,
Second.
Okay. Joanne,
yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yep. Thank you for your time tonight, and I'll be in touch with you and your landscaper this week.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
thank you.
Gerlach, for speaking with us tonight.
My pleasure. And again, thank you.
Moving on to a property we're very familiar with, 150 Old State Highway. Hillary and I were once again in district court with Mr. Vecchione on Monday, May 4th. Just to remind the commission, this was the court data which all citations were going to be lumped together, because again, we had citations moving through various parts of district court. It was kind of disjointed, and so the magistrate pulled everything together into one hearing. I don't have my sticky note with me, but I think we calculated the total number of citations to be around $30,000, and Hillary and I calculated a potential settlement amount with Mr. Vecchione, and that amount came out to be, to cover my time for writing the 45 citations, that includes 45 minutes, has to rent a car, to go to the site, to write the ticket, to write the report, to file it with the town clerk. That came out to be $1,552.50. And then we also wanted to include court time. And so my court time was $414. Hillary's court time was $558.98. And so that came to be a total of $2,525.48 to cover the staff time needed to address these violations that unfortunately we never got compliance with Mr. Vecchione. We felt that $2,525.48 was very reasonable amount of money to ask, given what we've been through with this property and these violations. To probably no one's surprise, Mr. Vecchione did not agree to this and has now requested a trial. Whether or not we proceed with that, we haven't had that discussion internally, but that's kind of where things are with this. Do you have anything to add, Hillary?
No, nothing to add. I think that sums it up exactly as it, and we're going to trial at some point.
So stay tuned, I guess, with that one. Moving on, for the truck access to the Boat Meadow Aquaculture Development Area, Natural Resources reached out and notified me that there was an alternative truck access route out to the Grant site that was established without prior approval under the current permitting, under the current order. We're pretty firm as to where that truck access corridor is located, and so I met with Nick Sanders, our Natural Resource Officer, and Shellfish Constable, and we went out to the sites, and we determined that the route could have been more clearly marked. Through the winter, it seems like some of the buoys may have shifted, but there was definitely an access route that was established by the shellfish growers, without any notice or approval from the Conservation Department or the Commission. So I issued a letter to the growers as a warning, reinstating that their access routes needs to be strictly adhered to, especially now with it being spawning season for the horseshoe crabs. Natural Resources has since put out additional buoys to further clearly delineate that access route. So I don't think any further action is needed on this matter. This is more of just a kind of an update to the Commission, and we'll certainly continue to work with the shellfish growers when it comes to ensuring that their access to the grants is compliant. They brought up that there was some potential safety issues with soft sand along the approved access route, and I stressed to the shellfish growers that if there are any safety issues that need to be addressed, those need to be communicated with the Conservation Department and the Natural Resource Department in a timely manner so that we can address those. And so that's kind of where things stand with that currently. Does the Commission have any questions on this? No. Okay.
One that you may not be able to answer. What was the reason for having another access route?
The shellfish growers indicated that there were some areas of soft sand that they were trying to avoid along the approved route. I certainly can see that being the case, but the route that they established deviated quite far from the route that has been approved by the Commission, and so I know we made it clear that
And this was or was not discussed with the Shellfish Constable?
Correct. Yeah, it was not known at the time that this alternative route was established, and so we've redelineated the access route, and so the shellfish growers are currently using the route that's been approved.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Are there any questions about this? Especially with summer coming and an influx of many more people on the beach. It's important to have a definite access route.
Yes, that route is clearly marked. We're in, as I mentioned, horseshoe crab spawning season, and so prior to every low tide, Natural Resources is out there doing the sweep of the horseshoe crabs. They're out at a training this week, so some other folks are filling in. I did a couple shifts over the weekend, and I think it was Saturday, I came across, 23 horseshoe crabs total, and so we move them out of the way, out of the access route, and so when the shell fishermen drive down the route with their trucks, it's free and clear of the spawning horseshoe crabs.
23 horseshoe crabs.
Yeah, that was my Saturday morning. So with that, I think we will move forward, unless the commission has any other questions, to our next agenda item.
Next, we have the liaison reports. Does anyone have a report from an organization that they're representing us with? No? All right. How about education and training updates? There was a salt marsh technical training update to discuss the restoration of a salt marsh in Eastham at the First Encounter Beach area. And Karen and Alex and I attended that at the Audubon Center. It was very informative, and several people went out in the afternoon into the marsh. Didn't you, Alex?
Yes, myself, Hillary, and Mike. Do we have anyone else from the commission? I think it was just Mike with us.
That's right. I'm sorry, I forgot that Mike was here also.
Yeah, so this was a technical training provided by Mass Audubon to talk about salt marsh restoration projects, and they had a pretty comprehensive slideshow that they put on in the first half of the day. And so I'm not sure if we've sent that out to the commission. I believe Amy may have sent it out. But if not, we'll send that out to the commission so that everyone can get a chance to see that. I guess long story short, it's just kind of in preparation of potential permitting of 2 restoration projects in Eastham, and so as we get further down the road, the commission will certainly be provided with more information on these restoration projects.
25?
I'd just like to add that the impetus for this is state legislation from 2022 for salt marsh restoration in Massachusetts. And the Audubon Society has decided to expand their mandate and their interest into salt marsh restoration. So that's where this is coming from. That's why the Audubon Society is involved. And we met the project managers for the Boat Meadow project, the Bees River project, and the South Sunken Meadow project. All 3 of those projects are in flight. The South Sunken Meadow project is most advanced, and like Alex said, we will be seeing we will be seeing requests for work to be done in the South Sunken Meadow project in the next couple of months.
I would appreciate it if you would circulate that stuff, Alex. I have not received, personally anyway, I have not received a copy of the slides, and I'd like to see what it is they're actually putting in front of people.
Sure. Yeah. We'll circulate that. Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, and Chuck, to your point, a lot of what they talked to us about was South Sunken Meadow because that's where the evaluation has been completed. So they've got mitigation strategies for that. They're just starting the evaluation of Bees River, and they're just starting the evaluation of Boat Meadow. So that's to come. So you won't see that in the package that they send you.
Thank you, Mike. Other discussion? Do we do,
Other discussion? Yes.
or
We will proceed with.
any other topics?
We'll do other discussion. Yeah.
All right, we have other discussion.
I'll proceed. Okay, thank you. Through the chair, we have two requests for emergency certifications in front of the commission this evening for the commission to vote on. Both of these requests are for properties on Brownell Road, 157 Brownell Road, and 153. I think we'll start this evening with 157 Brownell Road. This is a request for emergency certification from the town of Eastham to the Conservation Commission. As the commission is aware, on February 5th, 2026, the town of Eastham's building commissioner issued a determination of dangerous structure in order to demolish for the dwelling located at 157 Brownell Road. Furthermore, on April 17th, 2026, the Barnstable Superior Court granted the town of Eastham a preliminary injunction authorizing the town to demolish the structure should the defendant fail to comply with the order. We are at the point where the property owner has not complied. We have posted the court order on the residents in Pittsburgh, and it's been well past the 10 days which we were requiring the property owner, Mr. David Moot, to take action. And so now we are pursuing this emergency certification to demolish this structure. This work will be completed by the town, and once the commission approves this emergency certification, this work will be completed within 30 days. We have shared this request with the National Seashore. We've shared the request with the town administration, the fire department, the building department, and we received feedback from those departments in the draft, or not the draft, well, it is the final draft request that you have received this evening. With us tonight, we have John Ruffley, the Director of Department of Public Works and Natural Resources. If the commission has any technical questions regarding the protocols that are being described to you this evening, John Ruffley will be able to speak to those. I guess where to start. Does the commission have any questions regarding the proposed protocols on the demolition of this structure? We wanted to ensure that, the demolition proceeded with minimal impact, as possible to the coastal bank. And we wanted to stress that this is, the minimum amount of work needed to abate this emergency. Additionally, this will take probably about 3 days to complete. conservation staff will periodically be on site during this demolition process. And the National Seashore has requested that we give them notice prior to the start of work so that National Seashore Rangers can secure the beach below. While we don't plan to advertise, that this is going on, we suspect that, people will want to come take a look out of their own curiosity, and we want to make sure that, the area below this construction area is secure, and the National Seashore said that they would use their rangers to secure the beach. And so with that, I think I'll open it up to the commission to ask any questions they have on what is being asked of them to approve this evening.
We need to vote to approve this.
The town is asking the commission this evening to vote to approve an emergency certification for the town to demolish the dwelling at 157 Brownell Road.
Even though we have already voted to have the house removed. So we need to vote for emergency certification to remove the home at 157 Brownell Road. So may I have a motion to that?
Or I want to make sure that if, through the chair, if the commission has any questions on, the protocols that are being presented to them tonight, that, we have an opportunity to discuss that. Again, we have the DPW director with us tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
So I called it too soon.
Yeah.
Questions?
I have a question. What is the plan for whatever foundations are there? I think they just have crawl spaces, but I don't remember. One of them might have a partial basement. What are they going to do?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just go through real quick. Due to the sensitive nature of the site, we are going to have limited equipment on site at the time of the demolition and the cleanup. We'll have one excavator and probably 2 dumpsters at a time to keep it limited. So we'll demolish the structure first and load it out, get rid of all the wood and demo, and then we'll take apart the concrete foundation. We'll demo in as much as we can, crush it up, and that'll be hauled off site as well. There is one, they're kind of actually full basements, full foundations under one side. So there's quite a bit of concrete there to be removed. But yeah, we're going to haul it away. And then after that, the septic system will be pumped out and decommissioned and hauled away as well, the concrete tank.
Okay, then you're going to fill the holes for the foundation?
Yeah, we're going to fill the hole with screen sand that we use for beach renourishment.
Okay, thanks.
I was just curious if you had any concerns with, with disturbing the bank during this operation.
At this time, I think we're far enough away. I don't think we'll disturb the bank. I will say, I mean, if we wait too much longer, that won't be the case. But the sooner we can get in there, the better. And I think we'll be okay.
And the town has to remove it because the homeowner hasn't responded to any notices?
That's right. So the property owner has failed to respond to our notices and orders to address the issue, and so with the discussion with the town, we felt like this was the quickest way to prevent, the dwelling from going over the edge of the bluff. And, we acknowledge there's going to be some expense associated with that, and in the town, we'll try to recoup what they can.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, Alex?
All right, so then I guess we'll look for a
You have
motion.
nothing else?
Yeah, I have nothing else.
So could someone make a motion to give an emergency certification to removing the home at 157 Brownell Road?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes?
and I'm a yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our second request for emergency certification. This is for a property located at 153 Brownell Road. This is, I believe, the third request for emergency certification that we have received for this property. And I believe we do have Ben Zender here to speak to this request.
Yeah, Madam Chair. May I speak, Madam Chair?
Me, yes.
Pardon me?
He's asking if he can speak.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
No,
Please-
that's okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all. It's nice to see you all again. My name is Ben Zender, and I'm an attorney in New Orleans, and I'm here on behalf of Rick Hayes and Ian Mead, who are the owners of the property. And you've seen this before, and it's kind of had a little bit of a roundabout way getting back, but I'm hoping that the application that's in front of you is in a form that you feel is approvable. As you're aware, the house is probably about 4 feet from the bank right now. It looks like it's more, but it's undercut by several feet. So from the actual bank itself, not the overhang, it's about 4 feet back. The proposal here, using Ezra Ambrose and he's got some interesting hydraulic machinery and beams that move things. The proposal is to remove the northerly, roughly half of the house, the smaller section on the north half. The applicant has already gone into the northerly half and has removed the interior, the carpets, a lot of the materials, has disconnected the pipes already, has not touched the structure, but has removed all the interior stuff necessary to remove it. If you give us the approval, they will go in by hand and demolish the northerly structure. Then they will jack up and pick up the southerly structure and put it on hydraulic beams and then roll it backwards to a site that is at the very rear part of the lot on the back lot line. Our engineer, Jason Ellis, went out and measured the property today, and you have a plan. I don't know if you all have it in front of you. Would you like me to put it up on the screen, Madam Chair? That might be helpful.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'll do my best here if you don't mind. Can you all see this plan?
No, yes.
Yes.
Do I need to make it a little bigger for you all so you can see it better?
Please.
Okay, I'll do the best I can here. So this right here is the property, and can you all see this okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so go on the right-hand side of this plan is the Atlantic Ocean. And you can see about the middle of the lot on the right-hand side, there's a note that says top of scarp, 5/12/2026. That dark line is the line of the overhang of the bank. The dotted line that says top of coastal bank 5/12/26 is the actual bank underneath, where it's more solid. So you can see there's a portion of the house to be demolished and removed. And then there's I call it the main portion of the house. It's sitting on a cinder block, part crawl space, part foundation, that is to be lifted up and slid backwards on steel beams. So it's right at the back lot line of the property. And then when it's moved, and you can see a number right here, when the house is moved, the front edge of the house will be 44 feet from the coastal bank. Not from the overhang, but from the bank itself. It'll be 44 feet back, which is hopefully, significant enough to provide the board with some comfort that it will be secure in that place. We've submitted also for you a full request for emergency approval, and part of that request includes we have a civil engineer's report. One of the owners, Ian Mead, is a civil engineer, so he's gone ahead and researched and done some civil engineering analysis of the soil itself and the ability of the soil to support the structure. And I don't quite understand it. And you can see here, he's showing the temporary supports for the property. It will be cribbing. It won't be permanent. It will be just wood cribbing that it will sit on. And that his report, and I hope you take some time to look at it, but it basically says that the soil in that location is sufficient for the purposes of supporting the structure in a safe manner and won't cause any degradation of the bank itself. So it will go back to that location. It will not be connected to a well or septic system. It will not be occupied. Once the structure is moved and the danger of being near the bank has been removed, then we will, as you saw in the last application, we'll file what's called an after-the-fact notice of intent, where it will come back to your board for approval following the move. But we also propose, as part of that notice of intent, to do two things. One is to request of the board permission to lift the structure up and put it on helical screws and reconnect it to the septic system and well so they can use the property for the foreseeable future. But also request of the board an order of conditions for the removal of the house when the bank gets to a set point that will allow for safe removal of the structure and remediation of the site, but won't create any instability of the bank itself. And that's really the way that we like to see these applications go. I can't tell you what that distance to the bank will be because I don't know from an engineering standpoint exactly how close that needs to be. So we'll have to demonstrate to you, when it gets to be 10, 15 feet, whatever that number is from the bank, then it can be lifted up off the helical screws. At that point, it's an easy move because it's not affixed to a foundation at that point. Disconnect, remove the septic system, and then remove the structure from the site and then remediate the site. So that's the plan that we have. I also will need to, as part of this application, immediately apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance to locate the structure in that location. We have received, and what's in your package, we've received from the Building Commissioner, Basil Congro, we've received a building permission to undertake this work, to undertake the demo and removal work, and he has opined that it's permissible for us to locate the structure back there temporarily while we pursue the zoning relief and while we pursue the conservation approval for the what will be essentially a temporary use of the structure for the number of years that the lot will support the use of the property by Mr. Hayes and Mr. Mead. So we've also provided to you with this application, and it's on the last page, and I'll just scroll to it so you can take a look at it. We've provided both a plan, and that's the building permit approval from the building inspector. We've also provided a detailed plan showing the methodology of the move, where the pads will be placed, where the beams will be placed to move the house back, as well as Ezra Ambrose has provided both a protocol for his move and how he will undertake that move to be done. So another important thing for the commission to understand, unlike the property, actually it may be like the property at 157, the land that surrounds this property on the north side and on the west side is actually owned by the town of Eastham. It's an L-shaped piece of land, and I'll show you here where you can see it, called Parcel 5. And this land was conveyed by the National Seashore to the town of Eastham in 1995 as part of the reworking of Nauset Light Beach Road and Cummings Road and those roads in the area that you've been down when you go down there. They built that new road right near the Three Sisters going in. So the Seashore actually conveyed to the town of Eastham a number of parcels to reconfigure the roads out in that subdivision. So this is Parcel 5. When you look at this plan, you'll see that there's a small section right here that Ezra may need to remove some vegetation to stage his equipment right there. If we do need to do that, I'm going to have to go to the administration department to get permission from the Board of Selectmen to work within that area. to move to work in that area. I'm not sure whether he'll have to or not, but we will want to have a site visit with conservation staff as well as administration staff before any work is done to identify whether we need that permission to move ahead with the project at all. So I'm really hopeful that after working with Alex and Hillary and having some false starts on this, that my clients can get in there immediately. And by immediately, I mean if you issue the approval, I think Ezra will probably be in there either over this weekend or early next week to move the structure back. The foundation is a cinder block foundation, as I understand it. He will be, once the house is moved, he will be removing those components using equipment from the landward side. He will be filling the hole with the same type of clean sand that you just heard about from your own DPW director. And then that will be replanted on the ocean side of the property. And we believe it can be done without destabilizing the bank. We hope it can be. You're never sure, but we also feel like we really need to get in there and get this work done as soon as possible, and that an emergency authorization is the best way for us to do it, for your staff to oversee what we're doing, and for us to come back to you very quickly and then look at whether or not the house can be lifted up and put on those helical screws in a safe manner that respects the natural resource. And thank you all. I'll answer any questions that you have. I hope I can. So.
I don't see any hands up. Does anyone have a comment or question?
I just wanted to say that, thank you. On your first presentation, there was nothing, and I just want to say that at least I appreciate the additional information and the engineering work that went into basically trying to calculate the amount of I guess, again, I'm not an engineer, but the amount of pressure or force that you'd put on the sides of the bank and that you drew a line at least from which you would not cross, right? Based on that. And I had a question about the damage to the vegetation on the city, on the town property. Is it extensive or?
No, I mean, I don't know how many of the members have been out there. It's just sort of scrub vegetation out there. And as you can see from the plan, the parking and turning areas is really within the town way. This is kind of where it is anyways. I mean, it really feels like just at the end of a driveway going to the house. So we're happy to involve staff and I really would like to be able to go out there with Alex and Ezra and have Ezra really point out exactly where he wants to put his machinery and where he wants to do it to see if he does need to remove something. He indicated to me over the phone he didn't think he had to. I've been out there. It's really tight. So I would really like to be able to discuss that with Alex at the pre-construction stage, as soon as possible, and to talk about whether or not something needs to be removed. And if it does, what mitigation or control methods need to be in place as part of that work. My clients are certainly happy to replant once this is done, once they're able to get that done and restore it back. So, but I tell you the truth, I can't tell you how much of that needs to be done. So,
thank you.
Joanne?
Thank you. You may have said this, but that was a lot of information very quickly. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a long sentence. I'm sorry, Joanna. Yeah.
Right. No, it's fine. So I just wanted to ask the difference in a kind of machinery that you would need to use for moving the house back versus a demolition of the house. So do you need anything bigger? Do you need different kinds of equipment? Maybe, I don't know if that's something you can answer, but what I'm interested in is...
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I can. Yeah, I can. The only thing that really needs machinery, I mean, the smaller section on the north it can really almost be taken apart by hand, but I think it would be better to take it apart with a machine. It's really just 3 walls that are attached to the house that are of very old construction. So I think the only real equipment that's going to be necessary here is to actually remove the cinder blocks and fill the hole. Because the way that Ezra does this move, and maybe I can maybe I can show you this plan. Maybe this will be a little, maybe I can show you this. It's really interesting what he does. Um, I don't know, can you all see this okay? Can the members see this plan okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so what he does is he actually, he puts jacks under the house and he puts these cribbing pads and he jacks the house up and then he puts basically steel rails right here that sit on top of cribbing pads. And then he just essentially rolls the house on these cribbing pads to the new location and then lays it down again. So he's not doing it with a crane. He's not doing it with a truck. He's really an artist at this. I've watched him do a lot of these things. So that doesn't really involve a lot of equipment. That just involves hydraulic jacks and the system he uses to move the house and lay it back down again. This right here will have to be put into a truck or a dumpster. I don't know, have you seen it? It's a fairly small structure. And then he is going to have to go in and remove those cinder blocks from the landward side with some type of an excavator, pull it back to the landward side, and then fill it with sand. So, Joanne, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. Because I'm pretty much at the place where if this is a solution everyone can agree upon that, keeps the responsibility of any further action with the homeowner, I like that. It saves the town the pain of having to take action themselves. However, I would say that this is in no way my endorsement of kind of the second phase of what you're suggesting, which would be then trying to establish this as some sort of structure that could be, used. I won't even say inhabited, but used moving forward. But the first part, which would be we have a solution where the homeowner is taking action. If there's no additional detriment to the resources, I think, at least my door is open to move forward.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we can agree to disagree on what the result of the after the fact will be. I'm not asking for your endorsement on that. We'll make our case at that point. So we really all we really want to do right now, we want to move it and then come back. So.
Through the chair, what's the distance from the proposed location of the dwelling to the top of the coastal bank?
44 feet.
44 feet. Okay.
Yeah. When the house is moved, I'll take you back to the Jason Ellis plan. It's right here. I never know how much you guys can see or how big it is, but right here, this distance right here. When the house is moved back, it'll be 44 feet to the top of the bank itself, not the overhang. The overhang is the black line. The bank itself will be 44 feet. And I can tell you, in my experience in Wellfleet and Eastham doing a lot of these cases, 44 feet is a pretty good distance. So people start thinking about moving their houses at 44 feet. And then they're screaming and yelling at 25 feet. So how you feel about that, when we come back, we'll deal with. But I think it's certainly 44 feet is certainly a safe distance for location of the house for now.
Mm-hmm. On the map, it shows that that's to be a temporary location.
Yes.
How long is temporary?
Temporary is, well, again, temporary location is until we obtain approval from the zoning board and the Conservation Commission to make it a permanent location. Now, my father used to say, you don't buy land up here, you lease it. So everything up there is temporary. Our hope, really, Janet, is that we come back, we get an order of conditions that allows us to connect it to the well and septic that are already there and to put on helical screws, and then we get an agreement that, when it hits a certain point, it's going to be removed under the order of conditions. So, whether that's, and here's the problem that we have. An engineer can tell you whether or not the location is safe to put a house on now. An engineer can't tell you how long it will be before that location is unsafe. I don't think there's a coastal geologist alive that can tell you how long 30 feet of bank is going to last, because it depends on what the storms are like and what the bars are like offshore. And so, we do know that when it gets to a certain point, it will have to be removed, and I don't know how long that is. Hopefully, it's a number of years. So.
Do the commissioners have any other questions or comments? Can everyone vote on this?
Mike has a question, and so does Hillary.
Mike?
I am similar to Joanne. I like that the homeowner is finally given us very specific guidance on what they intend to do with their property. I think that's very important and well appreciated. The question I have more for my colleagues is, can we put a time limit on when we receive additional information from this property? I don't want this to go for another 2, 3, 4 months. I think it's very important that we have a timeline. We're giving them, if we approve this, we're giving them the ability to move forward without a thorough evaluation of this property as far as what we usually do with the Conservation Commission. I would like to see substantial information about what the rest of the project looks like in a timely fashion, not in a year or whenever. Is there a way for us to do that?
Thank you, Mike. Hillary?
Mike, you can have conditions on your emergency certification that would require the filing of a notice of intent within 30 days, if that's something that you so desire. I was going to ask if there's an opportunity at this point, if the commission issues an emergency certification, to place money in escrow now and have a contractor on board now. Should they take too long filing their notice of intent, then there's money sitting there and a contractor on board to come and remove this structure on cribbing before it goes into the ocean.
If I may, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Ben would like to speak.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Janet. No, I mean, we're required by the state act to file our after the fact within 30 days, and we will file both the after the fact. We're intending on submitting one notice of intent, but we will submit within the 30 days. So you'll have that within 30 days. We're certainly happy to put some money in escrow, but I don't know. I'm not sure I can get that in place tonight. Ezra's our house mover. I spoke to him today. He's ready to go. So, I'm just not sure how to do that, Hillary. But we're certainly happy because look, we can't occupy this house, and we can't connect it. We can't use it until we get permission from this board. So, I'm happy to agree to both the after the fact within 30 days as well as the zoning filing within 30 days. So.
I've got a question, Janet.
Yes.
It was my understanding that building department has issued a tear down order for this place. Has anybody received an official notification from them that it has either been rescinded or that they've got some superseding document?
I can address that through the chair, Chuck. The order that the building commissioner issued it under the statute requires that the commissioner give you the opportunity to either remove the structure or abate the safety hazard. So we elected to request of the building inspector permission to move the house back to the rear of the lot line, and then he subsequently issued the permit to allow us to do that. So I think that he never sent us a letter rescinding the order, but I think his issuance of the permit allowing us to move the house back is in fact his official act to not require demolition of the structure.
All right, so there actually is an open permit to move the house from the building authority.
Yeah, I can show it to you. It's actually part of the package, Chuck. It's right here.
I don't have a packet.
Oh, you didn't get? Yeah, we submitted electronically as well as So this, I'm going to show it to you right now. This right here.
I'm still looking at your plan.
Okay, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can figure this out. Hold on.
It's the window that's got the zoomed in on the benchmark.
Are you still looking at the plan? Okay, so let me just see if I can. Bear with me 1 second if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Stop share.
Page 10 of the document that we were sent, Chuck.
Yeah.
Can you see this now? Can you see this now, Chuck? Is this working?
It's starting in. Yeah. Okay, I see it.
Okay. This is the permit that was issued April 13th, and I read it. Selective demolition and removal of north bedroom and hallway and slab. Temporarily relocate main body of home about 40 feet south-southwest towards rear property line and stable cribbing pending additional permitting and possible appeals for permanent location. So, and then full removal of existing cinder blocks. So this is the permit that he issued. And we had a meeting with the building inspector, to discuss this, and this was his. And then he required, just so you all know, he required that we come out and get what's called a cut and cap of the electrical service. That was done. So Eversource has, I can't remember who it is. They've issued their cut and cap order. Electricity's been disconnected. And he's already gone in advance and begun to disconnect other lines to the house just to make it ready to do the move. So
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Thanks, sir.
Hillary?
I just wanted to go back to this escrow account and a contractor to remove it. I understand that the paperwork says you'll file within 30 days, but we've been at this for a really long time, and I'm hesitant to go on anything except something that I know. And if there's money in an escrow account and a contractor on board to remove the dwelling on the cribbing, should that need to be done, then I think I could support an application. But without a mechanism, I'm anxious about this.
So Hillary, through the chair, are you asking for an amount of escrow to remove the house from the property entirely?
Yes.
Okay. I can certainly recommend to my client that they put some money in escrow to do that. I just don't know that I can get a contract to remove the house between now and, at least not tonight. So if the board wants to assign some amount of an escrow that is a penalty for not doing it, that's fine. So, we'd have to go to Ezra and say, okay, what's it going to cost to pick up this house off of the cribbing, cut it in half, and move it from a truck? I just don't know what that amount is what I'm saying.
I understand, but I think you could get that amount from Ezra when you're on site with him. We still would have to issue paperwork, and you could get that number to us. We could put that condition on the paperwork.
Okay, so how about, and again, I don't want to put words in the commission's mouth, but if the commission were to see fit to approve this, include a condition that the applicant provide a contract from the contractor for removal of the structure from the cribbing from the site, and then put into escrow an amount equal to that contract amount?
Yeah, works for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question, Hillary. Were you thinking of a particular amount of money to be put in escrow?
I don't have a particular amount in mind. I think whatever the contractor would quote would have to be sufficient to do the job.
We can get that.
It seems a little nebulous to me. Does anyone have any comments? Joanne?
Janet, if I can comment, it
Sure.
sounds like what Hillary's saying, and I don't know what the kind of the actual mechanism is according to the rules of procedure, but we would be issuing an emergency approval for this work. I think it's contingent upon provision of an estimate from the contractor and subsequent deposit of that amount of money in escrow prior to the commission's, approval or certification being issued from the Conservation Commission. Something like that,
We
right?
can do that. Certainly we can make the issuance of the approval by staff to the applicant contingent not happening until we provided both the estimate and the escrow.
Alex, you had your hand up.
I'm good,
Nope.
yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Zender, it sounds as if you think Hillary's request is reasonable and could be taken care of within a timely manner?
I think so.
Alex?
And so I just want to confirm that we will, if within 30 days of, the approval of this certification, we will receive a notice of intent.
You will.
And what happens if we don't?
Well, I think you're going to have some money in escrow to hire a contractor to remove the house from the cribbing. I think that's where Hillary was going with this, right, Hillary?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We need a
Yeah.
mechanism. We need a mechanism to ensure removal.
Right.
Good. All right. Thank you.
It doesn't involve the Superior Court.
Ideally.
That would be nice. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Alex?
I'm
Thank you,
good.
Will.
I'm good. Thank you.
I am not sure how to word it.
So if no one else has any questions, we'll make a motion to approve the request for the certification, or the request of emergency certification for 153 Brownell Road, contingent upon how should we word this? Evan.
Well, I think you want to have the escrow stuff wrapped up prior to commencement of
Correct.
activity.
Correct.
I could contest the language if the chair doesn't mind. I could say subject to the applicant providing an estimate for removal of the structure from the site and deposit of an escrow amount with the commission equals to that amount.
Is the commission okay with that wording?
I think so. Yes, I am.
I'm fine.
Okay, I think we'll make a motion on that then, as outlined by Ben Zender.
As outlined?
By Ben Zender.
All right. Could I have a motion as
Sorry.
outlined? Hillary?
Sorry, the cat's attacking me. I had one other condition, that someone should be stationed down below the bank during construction to ensure the safety of those walking by.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can do that. I'm guessing I'll reach out to Leslie Reynolds and see if we can have the Seashore do that as well. I mean, I'm not sure we can, or do we just have somebody walk down the beach?
That's what I was thinking. I didn't know if the Seashore would do that, but you could certainly station some folks down there.
Yeah, we can. That's fine. We'll have somebody on the beach.
It sounds as if you think that all of this can transpire.
I'm hoping, look, it depends on how quickly we can get Ezra's estimate and an escrow done, but and how quickly the town can issue that approval. But I think this work will be done. If it's not done later this week, will be done at some point early to mid next week. So.
If there are no other comments or questions, could I have a motion?
Okay, Janet, I'll try it. I move we approve this request for emergency approval for the partial demolition and relocation of the house at 153 Brownell, contingent upon the provision of an assessment of the cost of the demolition of the additional portion of the house, and subsequent depositing of escrow into money into an escrow account that will be used for demolition of the house if we need to in the future. Also noting that Mr. Zunder has said he will try to post someone down by the beach to traffic control, and I think that covers everything.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Thank you all. I think this is a win-win-win. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
And with that, are there any other topics the chair did not reasonably anticipate at the time of this posting? These two emergencies came to our attention, but I don't think there's anything else.
This is Wayne, motion to adjourn.
Is there a call to adjourn? A motion to
Yeah,
adjourn?
Janet, I'm going to say late breaking point from me to promote the Nauset High School's musical is this week. So community, go support the community. This is the last time I will be advertising for them, as my son will be graduating this June. So last chance to catch a musical with the Nauset players and the drama club this week. I think it's, don't quote me on this, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe. But yeah, you can find it on social media like Instagram, Facebook, etc. Go and support your local drama club. And with that, I motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Okay. Joanne,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Wayne, aye.
and I'm a yes. Thank you all so much. I'm sorry that this took so long tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll look forward to a shorter meeting next time. Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Janet.
Yes,
Thank you, Janet.
Everybody.
Good night.
much. Night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.